When I landed in Dulles, I kind of found everyone outside the South African Airways sign. We kind of just hung out. We had 6 hours to kill. Everyone loves music, so that's one way to get to know people pretty easily.
We were all hanging out in Dulles today for a South Africa study abroad program that's been targeted towards student athletes.
This was a very unique opportunity. This is the first kind of flagship kind of program that allows us to spend 3 weeks in South Africa and really learn a lot and grow as individuals.
Notre Dame is very cognizant of the value of study abroad experiences. And I say this to kids at Notre Dame when I ask them, are you going to go abroad? I say to them, you will learn more about yourself in 1 semester abroad than you will probably in 6 semesters at Notre Dame.
1, 2, 3.
Because you are forced to look at yourself and where you come from critically because of the uncomfortable nature of this experience.
Right in front of us now, we are having the skyline of the biggest black township in the world, Soweto. This structure here shows the police letting the dog to go and bite these children who were on the march.
Learning apartheid is crucial to learning about South Africa.
This is the mostly visited area in Soweto.
It gives you really the history of how the country has been shaped to where it is today with their struggle, really, really dark times and times that I really didn't know that much about.
Apartheid is a policy initiated in 1948 in a South African government where there's a complete segregation between the whites and coloreds. Any type of colored individual was classified as a second-rate citizen.
Seeing the Hector Peterson photo was really the first glimpse of what apartheid meant.
The government asked the police and the soldiers to open fire to the children. So the first target of the uprising was a 13-year-old boy, Hector Peterson, who is being held up.
That photo made me realize about apartheid, just how violent and harsh and just really how terrible it really was.
That is kind of a moment when you kind of step back and say, like, wow, like this is real. And that's when kind of the realities of apartheid and kind of the violence that kind of associated with it and the strife kind of hit me personally.
So you're almost welcome inside the church. This is Regina Mundi Catholic Church. In 1976, the Soweto uprising, students around Soweto came inside the church. The police were here, they surrounded the church, shooting from out and in. Not shooting on the students, but shooting on the roof to scare them out. In this church, we still have those bullet holes and the images. Marble is very hard to break, but the police officers break this with the back of the gun, telling the students to leave the church. So imagine the force they're using to break this. Anger plus hatred. You know, when you hate someone, can do anything. So that's how this gets broken.
We went to the altar and it was made of just straight marble. There was a jagged edge where it was cut off and hit off. That jagged edge was pretty crazy to be able to see that someone would actually go ahead and do that to such a sacred and holy place. Imagine that if that would happen at the Basilica here on campus, that would just be a widespread panic. People would be going crazy. Everyone was getting ready, going outside of that church, and I kind of sat down in the back row and processed everything. seeing the historical context of what that church meant to the town of Soweto and really the impact that it had in the historical context it had was definitely a very, very inspiring and awing moment, to say the least.
I wouldn't be lying to say that it's difficult to process. A lot's being thrown at you. Whether it's visiting museums or and learning about the government in the past, or visiting kids that are less fortunate than us, all that combined is definitely a lot to handle.
You made it, huh?
I think an experience like this for our student athletes really just changes their paradigm of the world. They come in with their own personal experiences, how they grew up, how they were raised, and then when you step out of the box and you start to see the world from a South African perspective, from an Afrikaans perspective.
What's it, Luca? Sure, man. Good to see you, man.
From one of the kids in our schools, it just changes you. Every time I come here, it's something different, and it's a unique experience, and it's fun for me to experience this with this group. Studying with Professor Winter, somebody who was my professor in college.
You can learn about something in a book. You can read about Nelson Mandela. You can look at pictures of little kids in the townships. You can see pictures of the squatter camps. And it should be a moving experience. There's a very different experience knowing it and actually experiencing it and feeling it in a sense. And I think that's where being here, that's the overwhelming aspect that I don't think you can prepare them for. And I think that's why coming and having that experience is so critical.